What's up, everybody? Welcome back to
Not hitting the mic.
we put the real in reality or whatever.
Period, mama.
I'm your host, Pharaoh. We're joined by our wonderful co-host, Lee. Lee, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Once
I'm
again,
doing
this
great.
season continues to deliver on so many aspects. I mean, genuinely, I just love this cast. I love the house dynamics. I love literally everything about this season so far. I have zero complaints. I have no notes. Honestly, if you're not enjoying it, you hate fun. That's what you hate fun. You want to complain because really there's nothing to complain about. There's you tweeted this earlier, Pharaoh.
Now Lee, hold on. Maybe one thing.
What?
I heard Chelsie had to press Angela, but I didn't see Chelsie press Angela.
Well,
so is that a complaint?
Well, honestly,
depends what type of girl you are.
I think it definitely does depend, because as far as the whole Angela thing, we'll get more into that. But as far as the whole Angela thing, you could definitely see that as weird. But I feel like I already clocked Angela for being a weirdo.
That's what I was thinking.
So I was gagging. This isn't anything new to me because I knew she was a weirdo, and I said what she was doing last week was weird, and it was against one of my faves. I'd be upset, and now it's involved in some of my faves. So yeah, I'm upset. But even in general, it's like, Angela isn't an overt racist. I don't think Angela's a racist. She's not pushing any racist rhetoric. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as looking at all of the 4 Black people, because for people who don't know, basically this week a situation happened where Angela saw T-Core, Cam, Chelsie, and Cedric sitting outside, the Blacks, and she called over to Quinn and was like, "Hey, Quinn, that's the group out there to watch out for." Quinn, ally, told T-Core, he also told Chelsie. Chelsie confronted Angela about it. Angela, of course, knew it had to come from Quinn. So she approached Quinn and was like, "Girl, why you exposed me like that?" And tried to claim, girl, it had nothing to do with them all being Black. And, fees cut a lot because of this situation. So we don't really know the T's of the T's of the T's. But she basically tried to claim it wasn't because they were Black. It's just that, that's the group we're working with. Like, those are the people that, girl, know what that T was. We know what you was trying to say. But like I said, for me, it's like that pales in comparison to some of the things we've seen in recent seasons. So for me, I'm not fine with it. It's just I don't feel the need to drag her. I mean, she's being dragged enough on my timeline.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't blatant or overt, or even in this particular situation, I saw some people talking about it. Some people were like, well, they are kind of working together, blah 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 blah. Now, I think it's still weird, but I already thought Angela was weird, and a part of me is like, well, shit, she thought Joseph and Quinn was coming to her with a fake alliance and that they was working with Matt, and now she's thinking this. So I'm like, honestly, a part of me just feels like she needs help in general. Period, regardless, because like Lee said, the last situation was weird as well, honestly. And like, I don't know, she just I hate to drag this lady, but she has weird tendencies. She does. So I'm just not surprised. It kind of doesn't make me move. That low budget won't make me lose my cool, So that's that on that. But that situation.
I just want to clarify too, because I see Brown Charlie in chat says Angela later said that to herself that she was saying that's the group she wanted to work with. I don't believe that in the slightest. I don't believe a word that come out that lady's mouth. You can believe that, Brown Charlie, but I don't, especially because she's already clocked earlier in the season that the 3 C's are a trio. They came out of her HOH room all together and walked straight out like besties, and she clocked it then. That happened last week. So I'm not surprised that she would assume the 3 C's are working together. I think my only issue with it is that she said it while T-Core was outside, because T-Core is not in the 3 C's. She's not in the core. She's not in the Pentagon. She's not in that at all. So just assuming that all 4 of them are potentially working together because of a common race or background is weird. And we saw that every season. It's never not going to be weird. I don't care if 10 cookouts happen. Okay. Literally. You don't assume something of people in a new season because of something that happened in another one. You're playing with different people. It's a whole different environment. And truthfully, they're not working with T-Core like that. T-Core is not in a Black alliance with the 3 C's at all. So you can't really assume that all 4 of them are working together just because of the cookout happened when that's not what's happening here.
Yeah, and I feel like people were really getting Kyle flashbacks real quick. Some of the people were like getting like afraid and da da da. I don't think it's equivalent to what Kyle did. Kyle was saying Indy was in it, baby. Indy white ass. Like, please. Kyle was saying literally everyone.
But I also think honestly, so that was she didn't have the support. I think that's another why she was so upset is because she thought Quinn was gonna have her back with it. No, mama. No.
That too.
If she if she actually was trying to say that's the group we're working with, then she should have used those words more clearly. Saying that's the group, that wouldn't clear to nobody, mama. So now we all sitting around here looking crazy. And since the feeds aren't up to explain both sides of it, we really have to make assumptions. And that's another reason why I don't want to speak too much on it, because I don't fully know Angela's perspective, because we didn't get to see her argue it. And they're probably not going to show it on the episodes either. But it's just, it's weird. And she shows she's a weirdo week one. She did. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what she thought.
And that situation led to a lot of the target shifting, because after she pressed Quinn about it, T-Core, these were all barely, we had to figure this out because this wasn't on feeds, but T-Core apparently went in the bathroom. Well, she did go in the bathroom, and she started asking her about the situation, and then it ended up getting back to Chelsie, and then this led to a lot of the Chelsie changing her target from initially being Lisa to now she wanted it to be Angela, but now she's trying to change it back to Lisa currently. So there's been a lot of target shifting, and we can kind of get into a little bit of what happened in the episode, because that's the lead up to this, of course.
Right. It wasn't overall much in the episode. Well, go ahead and explain what this is. This is an occasionally recap.
Right. So first of all, if you do not want to be spoiled, this is not an episode recap. We are not recapping the episode in depth fully. We're just going to quickly go through it, and then we're going to get into the actual live feed. So if you don't want to be spoiled with the live feeds, the occasionally recap of it all, go ahead and put this whole on pause. Wait for this stuff to happen on the show, and then come back to us. But yeah.
Oh, this is an interesting comment. Oju said the feeds are like a second show because I finished the episode and didn't see none of this. Girl, and you may not see any of it depending on what they put in the episodes. So it's like I definitely have the opinion, if you are watching Big Brother, the edited shows, you have to watch feeds or at least keep up with the updates, because baby, you will be lost the fuck out. But as far as the episodes, we didn't get much. Of course, we saw Chelsie win the HOH comp. I'm so happy for Leah and T-Core, my other two faves, because they were also top 3 in that competition. T-Core's comp beast era is loading down, mama. And then we also saw the introduction of the Pentagon. We saw how basically the 3C's core, they came together and decided they wanted to add Quinn in Brooklyn. We saw Cedric go and tell Quinn that the 3 of us wanted you in Brooklyn, which is why Quinn is wary of the group already. And then we also saw Chelsie approach Brooklyn and tell her that we want you two in it. So it kind of just shows the introduction of what the Pentagon is. And then, of course, Chelsie nominated Kenny, Angela, and Lisa for the final nominees. Now, what they didn't show was her scrambling to find a pawn, because last minute before she made nominations, both Mackenzie and Leah went to Chelsie in her HOH room and basically convinced her, but they were pushing the idea that there needs to be a pawn to backdoor Lisa, because Lisa may have her power. And we don't know what that power is, so we need to be safe. So last minute, she brought Cam into the room, and literally Mackenzie and Leah were just talking. They were just throwing ideas at him that he needs to be the pawn. He needs to be the pawn. Cam at first was like, I'm not feeling it. But after 5 minutes and his little crush, Leah batting her eyes, he agreed, okay, I'd be a pawn. Chelsie wasn't fully feeling that, though. I think she was kind of using that as a test to see where Cam's loyalty was. Like, basically, would he put his game on the line to pawn for Leah? And that's exactly what happened. And then they also didn't show her basically try to get Cedric to also agree to be a pawn last minute. Literally, she got called to the diary room, and within those few minutes of going to the door, she's telling Cedric, I need a pawn. Who should it be? And Cedric was like, I mean, if it has to be me, let it be me. But only if it's last minute. It has to be a last minute decision. So a lot of that wasn't in the episode, but of course she just decided on doing Lisa, Angela, and Kenny.
You know what's crazy? After this kind of leads to, because when she was deciding who could be a pawn, you might be wondering why not Mackenzie. And as we saw in the episode, Mackenzie kind of saved her own ass a little bit, because with telling Chelsie about her power, it makes Chelsie be like, I'm not going to waste my HOH and just have this girl use her power, and then no one goes home at all. And then they also think Lisa has a power, so she's thinking in her mind she might end up putting 2 people up with a power, so she can't do that. But the issue that Mackenzie had is that Mackenzie didn't just tell Chelsie. Now damn near 90% of the house knows that Mackenzie has this power.
Literally.
She's sitting there talking about it with Brooklyn. She's talking about it with Cam. She's talked about it. T. Core and them know. She's told Tucker separately away from all of them and was like, oh, Tucker, by the way, I do have this power. You caught me. Because Tucker was calling her out. So damn near the whole house knows about Mackenzie's power. The only people who know about Quinn's power is still Chemo and Angela, because that hasn't gotten spread yet. Everyone else thinks Lisa is the one with the power, which is why Lisa has been, plus they don't like her, which is why Lisa was the main target at the beginning of this week. And then, of course, the Angela situation, and they switched back to Angela. And now recently on the feeds today, they've been recalibrating, and Chelsea's like, ooh, it should probably be Lisa because she's better at comps and she still has this power. We got to keep reminding ourselves of that, which she doesn't have to.
She doesn't have that power at all. So I honestly, personally, because I'm looking out for some faves, which is right now T-Core and Chemo, I need Lisa to stay. I need Lisa to win this AI arena and stay in the game.
But they don't even want her in here no more. They just had a conversation on the feeds, and they just had a conversation, and Lisa was talking upstairs in the backyard or something, and Chemo overheard her, and Lisa's basically throwing out names, and she's throwing out T-Core's name. And Chemo finally told T-Core some information. No shade. And he let T-Core know. So now they're like, well, fuck, she can fucking go, because they were the main ones who were like, Angela should go here. It shouldn't be Lisa because she'll work with her. And like, it can't be because Lisa's throwing out our names. And that's Lisa's fucking problem. But you know what? I'm going to put Lisa on. I
still want Lisa to go ahead and win the AI arena, though, because I feel like if Lisa stays, she's going to protect T-Core and Chemo if she works to stay in power. That's a number for them, and I'm fine with it. But yeah, definitely. A lot of people were kind of waiting for the veto, because a lot of people were hoping that Lisa would win herself or that Angela would win. If you do not know, Kenny has won the veto. Yes, after volunteering to go up on the block and wanting to quit week 1, he has now won the veto, and now he wants to stay in the motherfucking game. So unfortunately for us, we have to deal with Kenny for another week doing nothing. And basically, I thought it was going to get weird again, because of course, Chelsie has fully not turned on Cam, but Chelsie does not like the Cam and Leah relationship. She feels like Cam will basically screw the Pentagon for Leah because he is essentially in love with her. She feels like they're worse than Matt and MJ, which really isn't the case. Like, Leah and Cam really have no strategic relationship at all. They only flirt. That's literally it. So I thought maybe since Kenny won veto, one of them would get nominated. I mean, she literally had a conversation with Cedric that if veto is used, we would nominate Leah to gauge Cam's reaction. But lo and behold, Tucker volunteers as a pawn, because essentially he wants to beat Lisa in AI Arena and he wants to be a huge part of sending Lisa home. Tucker hates Lisa that much that he wants to be nominated as a pawn just to feel like he had a hand in sending Lisa home. So Chelsie, she ends up rounding it out with a pretty easy HOH week, because Kenny volunteered. Angela basically said it's okay to put her up. Lisa wasn't too pressed about going up, shockingly. And then Tucker volunteered stuff as the renom. So she basically kind of got off scot-free a little bit. I was scared for her game this week because I felt like she was going to piss people off. She kind of is leaving this week not pissing anybody off. I mean, I guess you could say Angela is kind of pissed at her, but Angela is pissed at everything walking. So it's not too much of a net loss as far as social game. She was able to contemplate pawning her allies. They don't seem to care. And the way that the house is kind of setting up right now, she's still maintaining her position. I think the main people who are losing a lot of social capital this week is Cam and Leah, because a lot of people do not like this Cam and Leah showman. A lot of people have spoken about how close they've gotten.
Yeah, Chelsie, honestly, her HOH, like you said, it is good. And that's why I remember last week, I was like, oh, I don't like that they don't want to win HOH. I don't understand it. And da-da-da-da-da. And the main reason is because when you win HOH, you can regain you can maintain your power in the game. And it's interesting because Cam has lost power. Cedric has lost a little power, but Chelsie has kept hers, and she's the one with the HOH. And it's like, didn't I say win HOH? But also on the flip side, if T-Core or Leah would have won the HOH, Cam, Chelsie, and Cedric would have been sitting, all three of them would have been looking stupid this week. Now it's just two of them, honestly. So it's like, really the reason, not the only reason. Chelsea's also just a good player. Genuinely, she probably still would have been in a good position. But I do think her being HOH helped her maintain her position, while you see if Cam was the HOH, let's say Cam won this HOH, they wouldn't be throwing his name out with Leah. They wouldn't be questioning him. They wouldn't be like, oh, they got to, it would have been on hold this week since he's the HOH, and then we'll talk about it next week. So I really feel like being the person in power prevents people from being able to turn on you. Cam is basically cut out of this kind of core, and at the moment they are not fucking with him. Brooklyn has had conversations about it. Cedric's not fucking with it either.
Y'all, so I'm gagged. I thought Cam was going to have this winner arc, but it's interesting because I've seen people compare him to Xavier. I've compared him to Xavier, just the style of gameplay, but I feel like that comparison is still just because one thing that really, really benefited Xavier in BB23 was the cookout. A lot of the times, especially in pre-jury, his name was brought up, but the cookout was able to diminish that. And then over time, of course, people weren't really thinking about targeting X. I mean, eventually, cookout became majority of the house. The issue with Cam is that he doesn't have allies that are protecting him in that way. So this whole Cam and Leah thing, it didn't need to be an issue, but now his own allies are pushing it as an issue to where it's spreading across the house. So he really needs to start locking in, or he is going to be fudged
real bad. And I will say, y'all, when I saw that Chelsie was considering this about Cam, because she was talking to the cameras at first she wasn't saying it to other people, which I was like, okay, let me mind my business. She was talking to the cameras and she was like, I don't like that at all. I don't even know if I could trust Cam. And my immediate thought was, slow your fucking roll, please, because I was scared. I was genuinely scared, because when you have and this same idea is going to go into when I get into Quinn and what we're talking about here mainly today. When you have a core, or when you have a group, or when you have anything, an alliance, and that's your main focus, and you've put a lot of work and energy into that, and that's basically what you've built, it scares me when you're quick to say, I don't trust this person no more, move along. Because as we see, what's starting to form by the end of this week is a new group, and Chelsea's on the bottom of that new group. So even if she gets added to the group, which she might not even get added to the group, she will be on the bottom of the new kind of structured thing, because the Pentagon is about to no longer exist. And I feel like a part of that issue is losing this core. Now they're not the core no more. It's really just Chelsie, and then it's Cedric, and then it's Cam, because even Chelsie and Cedric, they're on the same wavelength, but Chelsea's probably going to get pulled into things that Cedric won't, and I don't think she'll care. But that's kind of my problem. I want her to be more protective of her people, even if she doesn't like what they're doing. Like, you need your people.
And I will say she seems to still be doing that. Like, as far as relationships in the house, she's maintaining a relationship with everyone, even the people that she's nominated. And so I feel like they still feel like, for example, Cam feels like the core is real. Leah feels like the barbershop is real. There's also a girls alliance that we really haven't talked about too much, but they have this week, and it is Rubina, Leah, Mackenzie, Chelsie, Brooklyn. That's the girls in the barbershop. They're working closely together. So she's doing a really good job of maintaining her relationships, even though she doesn't feel an issue with it. And I'm really happy because it seems like Cedric would choose Chelsie over Cam. It looks like Chelsie is his Derek, low key. So she's really in a really good prime position, but it starts to set up her versus Quinn a little bit, because I feel like as far as capable players in the game, it will be Chelsie right now, and it will be Quinn right now. And Quinn is doing a lot. And I want to address this one comment Miss Brown Sugar asks: does the rest of the Pentagon realize Quinn is off of them? No, they do not.
Absolutely not.
No, they do
They're
not.
too worried about each other.
Doing a lot of work this week to separate himself in the game with a few of the players.
And I was feeling, because that's the thing, I was feeling iffy about Chelsie, what she was doing, but like Lee said, she's so good literally with everything else. The only thing she doesn't have, I will say right now, is the majority alliance quotations, and that's what I want her to have. But now that that's thing, even the core is still here. The core is still a thing, but the issue is Quinn. That's the biggest.
The only issue is Quinn, but I don't think Quinn is too much of a huge issue. So basically what Quinn is doing, he created the Visionaries this week. He went to T-Core and Chemo, and he exposed the entire Pentagon Alliance. He told them that the 3Cs created it, and they added him and Brooklyn to it last minute. And they're discussing about, okay, let's create our own group, starting with the Visionaries. They talked about potentially bringing Brooklyn in because they know she's at the bottom. They spoke about still working with Chelsie, which is Quinn's biggest mistake. I do not think he needs to be. I think he can still be placating Chelsie, but for example, when he uses his power, which is basically what he's planning on doing at this point. I think
Mm-hmm.
using the power to eventually take out one of the Pentagon members, it would be Cam. And it would be
Mm-hmm.
Cam because he wants to get close to Leah. Mind
Mm-hmm.
you, Leah is crushing on Tucker and Cam, not Quinn. So Quinn
Mm-hmm.
is doing all of this to try and get Leah on his side, and girl,
And there's
she's
still
gonna
gonna be a Tucker
probably
here.
ruin his game. And I think that's gonna be Quinn's main issue, is that he's not worried about Chelsie. And it's Chelsie who he should be worried about, because I feel like if anybody who could take numbers away from him, it will be Chelsie. We just saw in the
Mm-hmm.
episode, she had a really good heart-to-heart with Chemo. She has a relationship with T-Core. She has a relationship with Brooklyn. So the fact that he isn't clocking that it's Chelsie who's the problem out of the 3 C's is going to be his downfall. And that's what I'm saying. Like, she doesn't have the majority alliance, but there's several majorities. The Collective is a majority. The Barbershop is a majority. The Pentagon is the secret alliance. It's like still kind of controlling the game a little bit. So because her and Quinn are seemingly putting their hands in multiple different pots, it's still open. It's still anyone's game, because
100%.
neither one of them have solidified an actual group. And because they're in so many things that they can't really do it without, I feel like, coming
exposing themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so the decision with Quinn that he made, I don't necessarily get it, because he's operating off the concept that he feels at the bottom of the alliance. And it sounds like I should get it, but I don't get it, because I guess I have the outside, not even just me, he knows this too. We all know Chelsie is not fucking with Cam. She's literally went around damn near exposing his game. The reason this sentiment has happened is she was the first one to bring it up. So it's like, yes, other people agree. Yes, other people brought it up too. But it's like, clearly you weren't at the bottom of the alliance if Chelsie is beefing with Cam and she's thinking about pawning him. And she's not even thinking about pawning Quinn. So it's like, I feel like he went too I guess he just thought too literally about the fact that they all three had a thing and then they added him to it. I don't feel like all that is always a sign that you're at the bottom, especially when it's only 5 people. I get it if it was a 7-person alliance, a 9-person alliance. Like last season they did the same shit with Corey and he said fuck y'all, and I get it in that situation way more. Even then I didn't think Corey necessarily should have did that, but still I understood that way more because it was a whole 6-person alliance. And
I think it's pretty similar. I think it's very similar to Corey in a way, and I feel like both of them should be turning on the alliance at some point. It's about how you maintain the game after you turn that alliance. Personally, I feel like if he uses this power to take out one of the 3 C's, that would be smart, because I don't think he's going to have too much of a possibility to do it later. Even if he were to take out Cedric, then Chelsie can get out Cam herself. You know what I mean? I think he should be targeting one of the 3 C's, because if Quinn were to go to the end with one of them, I don't see him winning. I don't see him being able to beat that core. Even though it's not as united as we thought it was, I still do not think that alliance was necessarily best for Quinn's end game. But the issue is that if he were to use that power, one, that's his biggest move, and it will only be at the most next week or week 4. There is still several weeks left, and he kind of spoke about this too. There's several weeks left in the game, and I feel like the type of player Quinn is, similar to how Corey was last season, I don't know if he'll be able to pick up those pieces once they're disassembled, especially if he's going after Cam or Cedric, because the main person is Chelsie. She's the one with the connecting relationship. So unless he realizes that it needs to be Chelsie, it's not going to be a successful move. However, I do feel like he should be using his power to take out one of the Pentagon. I do, lowkey.
And see, I think that's the issue. I just don't agree with that strategy. I feel like because what I'm thinking is, when Derek was invited into the bomb squad, he was invited. There was already an alliance formed and he was invited in it. And his optimal strategy was, within that alliance, become the center. And I feel like that got him the win. Every time I've seen someone turn on the alliance, they've lost. I'm thinking of the one time, or not even just the one time, the few times people win is when they're in an alliance and they're in a group of people and they just make that group of people their group. Even BB6 with Maggie, they hated Maggie, all of her allies. She just made sure she was the most insulated within the alliance. And same thing with Derek. Every time you get an alliance, the whole point is just to make yourself the most insulated. And I would love to see it work, for there to be a group and for them to turn on it and them to actually win. But I don't think it would have been hard for Quinn to just become the core of this group. They already don't, like, if he would have just not that he's doing a lot, he could have still made this relationship with T-Core and Chemo. And you know what he's doing isn't bad. I think the issue is, from what I can see from the feeds, he's kind of not even talking as much with the Pentagon that much.
Yeah.
It's kind of becoming not way too obvious, but very obvious. He's about to potentially invite Brooklyn into this new group. So it's like she's gonna know he's not even fucking with the Pentagon no more. So I think what he's doing is a little bit too drastic. I feel like there's a middle ground. And that's what he needs to
fall
do.
back on. Like, I would like 100% more maybe if he solidified a new group. Like if it was him, Tikora, Chemo, Joseph is in it. He could actually have Leah. He could actually pull Brooklyn and Rubina. The issue is I don't think he can successfully pull these people. And I think that is going to be his major issue. Once this move is made, is he going to be able to create an alliance that he centers around? Because I don't even think he needs to make himself the center of the Pentagon. If he was able to make a new group and center himself in that, it would eat just as well. It's kind of like the leftover thing. We're all coming together and I'm the center of it. So I think he could be able to do that, but it doesn't seem like he's even trying to necessarily do that. He's really kind of focusing on the Takemo relationship and Leah and not really anything else.
You know what I'm realizing? Players like him and players like Corey, they're incapable of centering themselves in an alliance. No shade. We don't know. We haven't seen Quinn for the rest of the game, but Corey's game told me he's incapable of playing, not incapable, but he did not play in the way of centering himself in a group. And I think that's going to be Quinn's exact same issue, because the way they think, the fact that they're even thinking, let me turn on this entire group and join this other group or make another, that shows me you're not thinking on the point of center myself in a group. And what we see with Quinn, he's joining a duo. Bitch, you're not a duo to Tico. Right. Like, and it's similar to Corey. He flipped on first he flipped on his fake alliance, or his alliance that was going to crash, for another alliance that was going to crash that he flipped from the bottom to the bottom. I thought that was a stupid decision. And that's kind of what Quinn's doing too. No shade. Yeah. And then after flipping from the bottom to the bottom, when he reflipped from the bottom, it was, the pieces were all in front of his face and he didn't pick them up. And I could see that happening with Chelsie and Quinn. And I do think there's similarities already that we can see from the way they're choosing. And I agree with you, Lee. He should be taking them out. The issue isn't taking them out. I think it's just the way they're going about it. So I think Quinn is playing very hard. I think he's doing a lot of moves, and he's trying to form this new group. He doesn't even know how. That's another thing he's struggling to figure out. At first he said Rubina one time could be in it. Then he said maybe Chelsie too. And then he said maybe Brooklyn as well. And then he still wants Leah in it. And it's like, baby, you need to choose. Because really, you could just be sticking with the Pentagon because they want Cam out anyways, and that moves you up on the list. So, and that's my thing. And another thing, not that he will waste his power, but because because they've had all of this Cam energy, if he wins the next HOH, just naturally, he could take Cam out with his HOH, and no one's going to be mad because they've been fucking dragging him this whole time. Not no one's going to be mad, but if he pushes that idea and he pushes that sentiment, he's not playing like that is the point. Instead of encouraging targets.
He wants to play that rat floater game, and he's kind of giving it. Yeah, because the Brown Charlie, I've seen that comparison too. Like he's using Corey's game as a template. I think Pharaoh explained it the best. Like I think they're just similar players. We see people with the same archetype of player, the same game style. Like I think it's just happening to end up similar because they think the same way. Mm-hmm. But in general, I think that it's slightly different in other ways. But for the most part, he may end up making the same mistake. Yeah. But in general, if you're if T-Core and Chemo stand, I mean, we're winning right now.
We're eating, period.
And I think that's the main thing why I'm here for it, because what Quinn is going to do is make the game more interesting. And that's what I want. And I think it's going to really propel T-Core and Chemo's game. At this point, I can see them now in the end game because Quinn is adamant about creating this entire new group. I mean, T-Core was not aware that the 3Cs had an entirely different alliance. Like I said, there's not even a Black Alliance this season. She was just kind of cool with them. So now she knows they have an alliance. They created the Pentagon, and she's not in either one. And that is really going to allow her to kind of play this two-sided game that she wasn't able to do before. She now knows that, okay, my loyalty doesn't need to 100% be to this group. I kind of reminds me of like Mimi last season. We kept wanting Mimi to be like, okay, girl, the brown sugar baby's not real. Do other things. And T-Core is in that spot to be able to do other things. And if Quinn makes this move, it kind of puts her in the middle. She gets to work between Chelsie and Cedric, Quinn, Chemo, and everyone. She gets to basically work with everyone. So that is why I'm really excited about this because, baby, this is how T-Core wins the game, mama.
I agree. I agree. I
Game.
love what T-Core does. T-Core is doing exactly what I get pissed when everyone else does. The reason I was just talking about what Chelsie was doing, I didn't like. Well, I'm talking about what Quinn is doing, what I didn't like. They got some information and then they drastically tried to attack it. And T-Core has been sitting on information for days and she hasn't literally ran or like if T-Core would have got that information that the Pentagon was created and then she was like scrambling to make another alliance and oh my god, let me make sure I get that would have been something I didn't like. I love that she's taking the information and she's sitting on it and she's like, okay, noted, and moving forward. You don't have to do this extra thing. I like what Dana Olivia said. I think Quinn is moving too fast. It's still early in the game, so it's okay to be on the outside of the small alliance, especially when it's the main alliance. And I think that's kind of what T-Core is understanding. It doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter, but because she knows what's happening, she's able to mitigate it throughout the game. She doesn't have to quickly start spreading all this information and telling everybody it exists. Like Quinn is telling them that the Pentagon exists. That's not the most safest thing to do in the world. It's really not.
It helps
T-Core and Chemo
know, okay, well, I need to start moving accordingly with them. I need to strengthen my relationship with them while also playing in their face. If they were able to get snowed by them a little bit more, you never know how that could have helped his game. Because basically, Quinn's the one with all of the knowledge. He's giving this knowledge out for free, and it's just going to help them better themselves. And like we said earlier, T-Core and Chemo was already a duo. You know, you're kind of already automatically outside of a duo. And what I think Quinn is mainly trying to do now is bring in Leah to make this like a foursome. And Leah seems down. Leah and Quinn have had conversations about working together and working with T-Core and Chemo. But even that foursome, I don't see it fully sticking because Leah has so many other allegiances. Like, you can't just get out Cam. You're going to have to get out Mackenzie. You're going to have to get out Brooklyn. You're going to have to get out Chelsie because I think Leah is, for one, girl power. I think she's going to be down with that over anything. And it seems like those girls are at least saying that's what they're down for. So he has a lot of work cut out for him. He does.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think this is one of those seasons where no one is like going to just take the reins and just strategically powerhouse everyone out, which I love. I love seasons where it's more of an even playing field. It's still anyone's game because even though Quinn and Chelsie are seemingly doing the best, they're also probably going to be the main ones who can get caught up. I definitely see a low-key winner taking it all. Like I said, maybe I already said this before. I could see maybe Joseph, but I could also see definitely T-Core, maybe Chemo, and maybe Brooklyn. Maybe Brooklyn. T-Core is winning.
And I
can see Chemo and Brooklyn.
I promise y'all she is. I promise
y'all she is. But just these low-key players, the players who are smart but aren't doing a lot, I think are really probably going to take it at the end of the day. So I definitely have my eyes on a few people, but very, very interesting doings in the house. So currently where we stand, the Visionaries are looking for some people to join their alliance. The Pentagon has been exposed and they already beefing within. They having the civil war low-key. So we gotta, but you know what? Somebody said in the chat earlier, Leah don't even like Cam. And we didn't even talk about that. Girl, so recently, Chelsie has found out because Chelsea's whole thing has been investigating the showmans because she's not fucking with it. She's investigated with Leah. She found out Leah don't even like Cam that much. She do, but she don't. She likes Tucker more.
She said she likes Tucker more, but you know she knows they're both like her. So she said, "May the best man win." But Tucker don't like Leah, so Tucker isn't even going to pursue Leah. Cam will, and we know how this house is. You stay in it for fucking 90-something days, so I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into some sort of showmance. But in general, neither one of them are talking game, trying to strategically align. So it really is just irrelevant. Like, I don't know why you would make a relationship with somebody and not try to relate strategically. Like, Cam really disappointed me a little bit this week because I thought he was more game focused. And this week he volunteered to be a pawn. And then Cedric talked to Cam and basically told him, you know, people are starting to see you with Leah. It looks weird. And he first reacted in a way of like, okay, it seemed like he learned his lesson. He's not going to be around her. But as time went on, he basically went back to doing his old ways. And he told Leah, he was like, yeah, Leah, I think you're good for about 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah. Maybe. You shouldn't go up. Nah.
Like, what?
Like, what kind of conversation is that? And the thing is, Leah wasn't Leah, and Leah was more game focused. She'd be like, what the fuck is he talking about? It's
Literally.
like, who is coming after me? What alliance does he have that they're telling him that I can go in the next 2 to 4 weeks? It's like, what? It's like, what's hilarious with Leah is that she's kind of in that America spot. She kind of is right now, where it's like the people in the majority alliance, they kind of don't like her, but people in the alliance have relationships with her. And both Quinn and Cam are trying to be her Corey. Yeah. And it's like, look, damn, look, Leah, pussy power pay me by the hour. Leah got like Leah, and I think that's why Leah is gonna stay for a while, because even though Leah is involved in all of this, people are more mad at Cam. People want to target Cam. They don't want to target Leah. Leah is going to ruin Cam's game. She's going to ruin Quinn's game. 100%. She's going to ruin, like, just because they try to protect her, she's going to fuck them up, and she's going to be in the end game, and they're going to be out voting for her to win.
And she will be getting second to T-Core, just like Allison.
That's the real gag.
T-Core is June, the real floater, and Leah is Allison, the whore. No, I'm playing, but no.
Oh, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that.
I'm joking.
Yeah, you are joking. Because Leah's my mother, and I will come across the screen. Okay,
she's your literal mother. I know that's right.
Okay.
I
love me some Leah. I do.
Nah, I fuck with Leah for real. So I definitely think Leah's gonna make it to the end game as well. So that's that situation. So that's what's going on. These are the allegiances. Very vague. Anything can happen. Next week we probably have a whole nother alliance on here. Last week it was 3 different alliances on here, and now we got 2 different ones, bitch.
And those 3 alliances still exist. They're just not
exist.
So
exist. But and then there's more. And then there's more, because the girls, y'all just keep up with the occasional recaps. I saw y'all in the chat. Y'all was like, y'all really needed this, so that's good. We'll come back again, because we need to update y'all. It's like we get here and I'm like, damn, it was a lot going on, huh? Shit. But hey, that was that. Make sure y'all here on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we will be recapping the full week of live feeds, and we will be rating all the players, of course. And then on Thursday, we'll be going live after the live eviction episode. We'll be talking about that as well. And then keep your eyes peeled for more occasionally recaps, so we can recap any updates on the feeds or whatever. And definitely get into the rest of the stuff. And thank you for keeping it real with the kingdom, baby.
We're out.